Hello and welcome. I'm Exit Light, and this is my podcast. We're doing things a little bit different today, and this will probably be what we do every other podcast. We're going to be recording it, and then I'm going to be uploading it, but I still want you to put all your thoughts and ideas and comments in the comments below, and, we'll answer them. So, Jory is with me today. Hello, Jory.
Hello, everyone.
And, Jory, it's December. How's your Christmas preparations going?
So far, so good. We kind of got a Christmas present early with our baby boy on the way, so that was exciting.
Baby Bean.
Baby Bean.
Any name ideas yet? Besides Tracy?
Nothing we're saying publicly.
Oh, okay. So Benjamin Franklin right now.
Pretty much.
Okay. Do you have internet going there, Jory? Jerry? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay.
Go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, I'll just talk to myself. So, it snowed here today. 1.5 inches of beautiful, glorious snow. And my Labrador has never seen snow before, so she went nuts and played in the snow and tried to eat the snow and pushed the snow with her nose and rolled in the snow. And then she saw a snowman and shite her pants. And her hair went up. She growled viciously. Who is this monster, this alien being? And she slowly went over to it and sniffed it and knocked its nose off. Tell it who is boss. So Josh put the nose back on, and Juliet was satisfied that she'd won that war. So that was fun because, the Chihuahuas, they do everything they can in their ability to not touch the snow with their dainty, tiny feet. And do you remember the first time? Well, you probably don't, but the first time it ever snowed here, we had just moved here, and my Chihuahuas pressed themselves up against a wall so they could walk in the teeny tiny inch of space that didn't have snow on it. And they were like, mi amigo, we're ready to go back to Arizona. But anyway, so it was very exciting, and I kept peering out the window all day to see it. It was beautiful. So that's how my day is going. Are you ready, Jory, with the internet thing?
Yeah, I've switched off.
Okay, if you're listening to this, obviously you are listening to this recorded. Please go ahead and subscribe. And please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up right away. It is totally free. It won't shock you. And if you'd like to be notified of future podcasts, eventually they'll be going live all the time again. But if you'd like to be notified of content, go ahead and click that bell. And if you'd like to consider supporting my work and my channel, please consider doing so through Patreon and through Teespring. And I'm working on some new inventory for Teespring. Yay. All right. Today's subject, 2 days ago, was... Hold on. I want to find the German word for it. Just a minute. This is important. What's the German word for night? I know this. Nacht, right?
Yeah.
So it's Krampusnacht. And that was the 5th of December. And Krampusnacht is when you get a not so friendly visitor from Santa's best friend, Krampus. So we're going to talk about the history of Krampus and why it's unfortunate that we don't use it year round. All right, Jory. Would you like to start and tell us a little bit of something about Krampus?
Yeah, so I actually had no idea that this folklore existed until a couple of years ago when my wife and I were watching a show that you watched too called Grimm.
Yes, and Rob watches it too. You mentioned it last week.
Oh, okay. So that was my first encounter with Krampus, and I thought it was just a show-created character.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked it up online, I found that this was a whole folklore, a history behind this thing going back, pre-Christian origins. So I thought that was, how come I've never heard of this until now?
Right.
But just to give everybody a little bit of background here. In Central European folklore, Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure described as half goat, half demon, who, during the Christmas season, punishes children who have misbehaved, in contrast with Saint Nicholas, who rewards the well-behaved with gifts. Krampus is one of the companions of Saint Nicholas in several regions including Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Northern Italy, Slovakia, and Slovenia.
That's crazy, right? That's a lot of places.
Right?
Yeah.
And it goes on to say that the origin of the figure is unclear. Some folklorists have postulated that it is pre-Christian origins, though.
I'm going to have to disagree with that because it's connected to St. Nicholas, which would be a Christian origin.
I'm thinking that what we know as Krampus probably was formed once Christianity became a thing and St. Nicholas became a thing. But maybe there was, I'm assuming maybe there's an origin area that perhaps Krampus was something before it was Krampus, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like it evolved into Krampus.
Right.
In traditional parades and in such events as the Krampuslauf, or in English, the Krampus Run, young men dressed as Krampus participate. Such events occur annually in most alpine towns. Krampus is featured on holiday greeting cards called Krampus Karten.
You know what I love most about this is that it's like Krampuslauf, Krampusnacht, Krampuskarten. And I just love it because it's so, German has that really strong accent. And that's perfect for a folklore character to have that strong German, I am a Krampus. Like, oh, I'll go to bed right now. I would do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so let me tell you a little something about Krampus. What do you think?
Okie dokie.
All right. So, like you said, he is a Christmas demon. Although some people say that he's not actually a demon, but whatever. He's a Christmas demon. He's a devilish figure with horns, a goatee beard, and which is also the way some people depict Satan. Ironically enough, it's like goat feet and goatee feet and a goatee beard. See what I did there? A goatee.
You're so clever.
I know. Anyway, whatevs. Sometimes on the holiday cards that you talked about, he's posed like harmlessly. Sometimes he's holding a child with his tongue out and wiggly. Sometimes he's holding his branches But also, sometimes he is portrayed as like a lusty goat man who chases women around and tries to seduce them, which, I mean, that's maybe it's because they drink so much beer in Germany that would be possible. Because on any given night, I don't think you're sitting in a bar looking at Krampus thinking, he look good. I'm just maybe if your mug is tipped up that far and you're looking to the end of it. Ooh, he look good. I love that goatee. I don't know.
Okay.
So, that's kind of strange that they make him this child-beating womanizer. Boy, that's attractive. I don't know. So, December 5th, of course, belongs to Krampus, and if you survive, you might get Krampus. December 5th is called Krampusnacht, the night of Krampus, and that's when he reigns. In the real world, people actually attend Krampus balls, which I think is an entirely different podcast. Young men from the Krampus group don carved wooden masks, cowbells, chains, run around the town, like you said, during a Krampus laugh, and frighten all the kids. I'm just thinking, who takes their kids to this? I don't know, but I guess you have to reduce to scaring them to behave sometimes. According to legend, Krampus will spend the night visiting each and every house. He might leave bundles of sticks for bad children, or he might just hit them with the sticks instead. He might toss the children into a sack or a basket on his back and then throw them into a stream. Or he might take them back to hell with him. The next day, though, is Nicholstag, which is St. Nicholas Day. And that used to be the Dutch name Sinterklaas, which turned into Santa Claus. Popo Gijo. Come on, Jory, do it.
Well, now you just put me on the spot.
Okay, come on, do it.
Popo Gijo.
I snorted.
Edit that out.
I'm going to edit that out. That is from the movie The Santa Claus. That's my favorite part. Popo Gijo. Anyway, and then it's time for presents for all the little girls and boys, the ones who haven't already been beaten, taken to hell, or drowned. I wonder if that was like population control.
Like a medieval Thanos.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, hey, what happened to John? Well, he was a bully. John's not coming back.
I bumped into Krampus back at the bar after he was beating a woman, and he showed me the naughty list, and John was number 1.
Guess you better make sure you're a good boy. Okay, so would you like to tell us a fact about Krampus, Jory?
Yeah, so this is where we'll delve into some origins.
Okay, let's delve.
The history of the Krampus figure has been theorized as stretching back to pre-Christian Alpine traditions. In a brief article discussing the figure published in 1958, Maurice Bruce wrote, "There seems to be little doubt as to his true identity, for in no other form is the full regalia of the horned god of the witches so well preserved."
I'm sorry. Maybe this was a pagan tradition. If it was pre-Christianity, that would make sense, right?
Well, that's what I'm getting to.
Oh,
jeez.
My bad. My bad.
I just read to that part, so you just take over from there.
My brain just turned on.
Welcome to the Exit Light Podcast, everyone. I will read half of an article, then she'll take over and take credit for it.
My other hamster got on the wheel and was like, oh, shit, I think I know this. Okay, sorry.
The birch, apart from its phallic significance, may have a connection with the initiation rites of certain witch covens, rites which entailed binding and scourging as a form of mock death. The chains could have been introduced in a Christian attempt to bind the devil, but again, they could be a remnant of pagan initiation rites. Discussing his observations in 1975 while in Erdning, a small town in Styria. Thank you, everyone, for my butchering of European towns.
Yeah.
Anthropologist John J. Honegam wrote that the St. Nicholas Festival we are describing incorporates cultural elements widely distributed in Europe, in some cases going back to pre-Christian times. Nicholas himself became popular in Germany around the 11th century. The feast dedicated to this patron of children is only one winter occasion in which children are the objects of special attention, others being Martinmas, the Feast of the Holy Innocents, and New Year's Day.
Oh, because of Baby New Year.
Yeah. Masked devils acting boisterously and making nuisances of themselves are known in Germany since at least the 16th century, while animal masked devils combining dreadful comic antics appeared in medieval church plays. A large literature, much of it by European folklorists, bears on these subjects. Austrians in the community we studied are quite aware of heathen elements being blended with Christian elements in the St. Nicholas customs and in other traditional winter ceremonies. They believe Krampus derives from a pagan supernatural who was assimilated to the Christian devil.
Boom! I told you it was coming.
The Krampus figures persisted, and by the 17th century, Krampus had been incorporated into Christian winter celebrations by pairing Krampus with St. Nicholas.
Hey, I have a good idea. Let's bring the devil into Christmas. You think that's a good idea? Well, yeah. Yeah, Pastor. We should bring the devil into Christmas. Okay, then. Bring it.
Well, it seems to fit the, and if anybody's religious and I offend you, I apologize, but it seems to fit the mindset of the Christian church in the times where you needed to get people to fear the unknown for them to come to church and devote themselves to God. So what would be more perfect than to get people to fear this devilish creature around Christmas time to drive more people closer to God?
Well, and also they, like we've talked about before, the Christians weren't the partying type, and they were like, hey, the pagans have all the good parties and we got nothing. So they were like, let's take a tree here and maybe some Yule logs over there. And so they incorporated stuff so they could go, look over here, we have a party too. And so they probably just incorporated that and thought, well, that's fun. We can scare kids.
Yeah.
And, most Christian traditions do stem in pre-Christian pagan traditions before that reason. Right. I think that that's pretty much well-known history at this point. I don't think anybody, I just told anybody something they didn't already know. Like when you're looking at Easter in particular, all those symbolisms, the chicks, the bunnies, the fact that it's in the spring, those are all spring solstice, new life things. So it makes sense that they would bring it over, although I would have vetoed the idea. I'm just saying. I would have been like, I don't think we need any goat devils. But that's just me.
I kind of like the Krampus folklore. It gives the Christmas holiday more dimension to me.
Oh, really? You like the Krampus tradition?
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun. Like it adds more to the Christmas tradition. And I can understand, like, especially parents a long, long, long time ago who might have had unruly children. This would have been something that would have helped them keep them in line, because obviously life wasn't easy back then. But nowadays it's just kind of like a fun little. It's kind of like a post Halloween thing, like.
Yeah, it's
like,
the 65th day of Halloween.
Yeah,
I'm digging it already. Well, we still do that. Weird. Santa, you better be good for Santa, which starts about, September.
yeah.
I'm surprised they wait so long, frankly. They're like little shits all year long, but it's December 5th. You're like getting close to Christmas. It's time for your beating.
I would just stay quiet, let them be unruly until December 5th, and be like, "Oh, by the way, today's Krampus not. So if you're not here in the morning, I'll know that you were not
shit.
on the nice list."
Oh no!
That would traumatize them the whole rest of the day.
Okay, and then
they would
you
mow the
have
lawn,
your
they would
neighbor.
take out the trash.
Just that day, though.
Yeah,
but then you have your neighbor dress up as Krampus, steal your child, and take him to hell, aka their basement for the day. And then you'd be like, "Oh shit! I guess you were on the naughty list," which is a lot cheaper than being on the good list, by the way.
I feel like that's committing a crime.
It's why? It's an agreement between two consenting adults.
But the child doesn't know they're going to be kidnapped and forced into a dark basement for an entire day.
And maybe they should have been good. Think about that.
It's like the classic scary movies, Mom. Sometimes it's better just to leave the child in suspense.
Sometimes
maybe
not.
When they're like going to bed at night, like just wake yourself up at midnight and do some like scratch marks along the wall.
That's good. It's not as good as the basement, but
if you live somewhere where it snows, put on some like, maybe you can get some specially made Krampus little snow boots that leave footprints in the snow. Walk around outside their house, the bedroom door or the bedroom window.
I love that idea.
Just really put it into there, and then in the morning be like, "Oh man, son, you're so lucky I was awake.
Right.
I saw Krampus getting ready to kidnap you, and I scared him away." And he's like, "I love you forever, Dad. I'm so sorry. I'll do everything you." And I'm like, "Yeah."
But let me ask you: but if by December 7th, you know how kids are, they're resilient. By December 7th, that kid's like, "I'm not cleaning my room. I'm not taking the trash out."
Then I tell him that December 8th is Return of Krampus stock.
Part 2.
It's the sequel, bitch. You're going down this time. And Dad ain't saving you now. Krampus is coming to town. And that leather whip ain't for the reindeer.
Or the pretty girls.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, I didn't make that up.
What do you keep coming from dark places in this stuff? It's Christmas.
We keep coming from dark places.
You do. First you want to kidnap and shove the kid in a basement, and then you go into some dominatrix stuff.
First off, there are worse places to be than a basement, okay?
Not many.
I didn't say a box.
Especially if you don't know where the F you are.
I'm just saying, some kids are a little more in need of some special behavior. I don't know.
If you're listening, Madison, this is for you.
Madison would have been over at Doug's house every December 5th. Oh, Madison, if you're listening, I love you.
He wouldn't be able to move his right arm from that big bruise I put on it, though.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Krampus. Okay, I'm going to have my parenting card ripped away right now. It's too bad. They're all grown up. Too late. All right. So here we go. Let's see. Originally, Krampus was a purely pagan creation, said to be the son of Hel from Norse mythology. I really like this part, getting to know this. But he got grafted into Christian tradition as the sidekick of St. Nicholas. Similar to figures like Zwarte Piet in the Netherlands and Knecht Ruprecht in Germany. Since the 17th century, the two have been linked in a sort of Christmas yin and yang, with Krampus as St. Nick's dark companion. Costume figures of the two traditionally visit houses and businesses together on Krampusnacht. St. Nicholas brings the gifts, Krampus brings the pain. I love that. Bring the pain. That's so weird. Krampus revelers will hit, push, and whip spectators at their parade. Why didn't we go to one of these? The Krampus of legend whips people with his birch bundle. But because he's a literal demon, surely the costumed human Krampus partiers wouldn't engage in such violence, right? Wrong. Here's a description of the Salzburg Krampuslauf from a tourist who expected mere costumed buffoonery and came home with welts. Okay, here we go.
Oh my God.
Okay, here we go. The narrow streets of the old city section of Salzburg were packed with pedestrians as Krampus stomped through. Many people were caught unaware and reacted with terror. Some would flee and try to seek refuge in a shop or restaurant, only to be pursued by a determined Krampus. With so many easy targets, we again managed to escape largely unharmed. At times we were chased, jostled, and whipped. But compared with the brutality we witnessed, it was obvious we had been spared the full brunt of what Krampus could measure.
Jesus.
This letter went to Krampuslofts in 3 cities and described savage beatings to the people's thighs and shins, as well as Krampus chasing down and sitting on a teenager. But despite the fear and bruises, it's all in good fun. And hey, at least they're aiming for the legs. Oh my God.
I'm going to say count me out of that certain parade.
But don't you want to dress up as Krampus? I do.
I'll just dress up as Evan Peters' character from American Horror Story Season 1 in the leather-bound
Oh gosh, that'll scare the hell out of anybody.
And then when he whips me, I'm like, ooh. Just see how Krampus reacts.
Do it again.
Oh, Krampus. That flick of the wrist is something new.
That's all you got, big boy?
That all you got?
Oh, you're making. I can't. My asthma is killing me.
There's a nice dark close quartered Bavarian alleyway over there. Try and catch me. Oh no, I'm trapped. However will I get out of here, Krampus?
Krampus runs away crying.
Wait, come back, Krampus. I've been a bad person.
I started again. Okay. Oh my god. I can't get that picture out of my head. Okay, is there anything else you want to tell us about Krampus? I wish we'd talked about Krampus a long time ago. Okay.
A little bit of modern history behind the Krampus. In the aftermath of the 1923 election in Austria, the Krampus tradition was prohibited by the Dollfuss regime under the Fatherland's Front and the Christian Social Party. In the 1950s, the government distributed pamphlets titled "Krampus is an Evil Man." Towards the end of the century, a popular resurgence of Krampus celebrations occurred and continues today. The Krampus tradition is being revived in Bavaria as well, along with a local artistic tradition of hand-carved wooden masks. Although Krampus appears in many variations, most share some common physical characteristics. He is hairy, usually brown or black, and has the cloven hooves and horns of a goat. His long pointed tongue lolls out, and he has fangs. Krampus carries chains thought to be to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian Church. He thrashes the chains for a dramatic effect. The chains are sometimes accompanied with bells of various sizes. Of more pagan origins are the rooten, bundles of birch branches that Krampus carries in which he occasionally swats children, or men in skin-tight rubber suits.
I wonder if there's like a whole group of people who are like planning all year to travel.
And someone turns on the stereo for like the witches theme song from Coven. La 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 la.
And they all wait around. They fight to get in the front.
Yeah. No, I was first. I was the worst person this year. No, I was.
I was a very, very bad boy.
Krampus, I was so bad this year. You don't even want to know how bad I was. I know I'm on your list.
Oh my gosh.
All I want for Christmas is swat some Krampus. Ooh, baby.
I saw Krampus swatting me this year.
I really did. I really did see Krampus spanking mommy last night. You just gotta believe me, guys. You just gotta believe me.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh, okay.
Anyways.
Is
the rootin,
my turn or you? Okay, good.
The rootin may have had significance in pre-Christian pagan initiation rites. The birch branches are replaced with a whip in some representations. Sometimes Krampus appears with a sack or a basket strapped to his back, and he carts off evil children for drowning, eating, or taking them to hell. All right, that's about it right there.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Sometimes the Krampus costumes at Krampus lofts are aesthetically varied. They can be reminiscent of devils, bats, goats, the abominable snowman, or something out of a Guillermo del Toro movie. That's scary. There are usually some kind of horns and hides involved, but there's also a lot of free reign on the kind of costume you can make. Krampus has also been a fixture on Austrian holiday cards since the 1800s. But they predict him. That's not the word. Depict him. With one human foot and one cloven foot. But nobody's sure why they do it that way. I don't like that. Some Austrian households have year-round decor that is meant, that's what I'm talking about, to remind the kids to stay good or Krampus would get them. In 1958, an article about the Krampus legend in Styria, which is a state in southeast Austria, reports that Krampus would deliver gold-painted bundles of birch sticks to children, smaller versions of the one that he carries around on the parade. And they would put these gold-covered birch sticks on the wall of their house for the rest of the year as decoration and to remind the kids to stay in line. The article rather primly notes that the twigs are hung particularly in those houses where the behavior of the children merits the application of corporal correction. Ow. Okay. I don't know. Krampus was once banned by fascists. Oh, fascists and their lack of fun. Between 1934 and 1938, when Austria was under fascist rule, Krampus was seen as a symbol and of variously sin, anti-Christian ideals, and social democrats. It was seen as a symbol for social democrats. Okay. The newspaper of the Austrian Catholic Union called for a Krampus boycott, and the government of Linz, the capital of East Tyrol, sounds like we're talking about Game of Thrones right now, forbade Krampus dances and further mandated that all aspiring St. Nicholases must be licensed by the state. They also pledged to arrest Krampus whenever they saw him. Though it didn't rise to the level of a ban in 1953, the head of the Vienna's kindergarten system also published a pamphlet calling Krampus the evil man and warning parents that if they celebrated him, it could scar their children for life. Well, quite literally, when you're being whipped on your legs.
Wow.
I'm saying, what's a little leg whipping amongst friends? So,
I like how in like those times you could get offended by Krampus, and today you can get offended by Baby It's Cold Outside.
Well, okay, I'm not going to lie about that. Baby It's Cold Outside is a creepy song. I've always felt that it was a creepy song. She's saying, I want to go home. He's saying, no, it's cold outside. And then she acknowledges that he's spiked her drink. He spikes her drink to get her to stay there. You know, I'm not offended by the song. I just think, what the F were they thinking? That's all I'm going to say. As a side note, which has nothing to do with Krampus, do you not think that's weird?
I'm being lectured by the wife.
Oh, are you? Does she feel the same way?
She's trying to explain to me the song.
Yes. A- And yes, he won't let her leave. He spikes her drink. It is weird, to
I
say the
just don't think
least.
of it as a Christmas song.
No, it's more of a detailed how to um slip a Mickey to somebody in a bar.
I don't think it goes that far.
He spikes her drink.
Does it say it in the song that he spikes her
Yeah,
drink?
yeah. She says, "What have you put in my drink?"
And what does he say?
Oh, baby, it's cold outside. And she gets her in the actual. It was in a movie, and in the actual movie, she's like putting her coat on, and she's like, "Oh, what did you put in my drink?" And she puts her coat on, and he takes her coat off and has her sit down on the couch. And she's like, "I don't want to go. I want to go home." And he's like, "Oh, but it's so cold outside." He's being a creepster. I've always thought so since I was little. I thought this is weird.
He just wants to spend time with his lady friend. She's playing hard to get.
Oh shit! How close is Kendra to you right now?
She's sitting right next to me. And
And
she
you're.
laughed.
She did.
Yeah, it's funny.
Anyway, it's just a weird.
Anyways,
The song is just weird. It's just weird. That's all. I don't think we should. Who cares? That's totally off topic. It's totally off topic. Let's talk about beating people with sticks. Now there's something I can get behind. Spiking people's drinks.
I could think of a few people I wouldn't mind slamming with some sticks.
Okay, so you could probably pick up some plastic horns at a Tyrolean Target. Hey, Jeremy, doesn't that sound like a Target? Yeah, Game of Thrones. Hey, yeah, a Tyrolean Target. But that's not really in the right spirit. Traditionally, the masks worn in a Krampus procession are made of wood. They are hand carved by specialist artisans. For example, Ludwig Schnegg makes the masks for all 80 members of the Haming Krampus group. And he's been making them since 1981. Antique masks often wind up in museums, either folklore museums or ones explicitly devoted for Krampus. The town of Kitzbühel and Stahlhofen both feature Krampus museums that collect old costumes and masks. And until recently, there was a museum in Sootstock as well. They're worth a lot of money. And do you want to cut in here for anything or?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. You too can celebrate Krampus, even if you're in the United States. Krampus has become increasingly popular on this side of the pond. He's shown up on Venture Brothers, Grimm, Supernatural,
Oh, yeah.
The Colbert Report, and An American Dad. And there's a Krampus-inspired horror movie. Gee, I wonder why. And in an increasing number of American cities, you can go to a Krampus party, Krampus costume contest, or even a traditional Krampuslauf. Los Angeles, in particular, has a burgeoning Krampus scene.
Yeah,
And
my buddy that I've known for a long time online lives out in Cincinnati, and they just had a huge Krampus party in like the downtown area of Cincinnati, Ohio, that he went to. And there's a bunch of people dressed as Krampus just walking around in downtown.
is there a large German population there?
In Cincinnati?
Yeah.
I would assume German and maybe French, because that surround the Great Lakes.
Well, oddly enough, there are several German named towns in Texas, which I don't know why I find that odd to be odd, but I do. And we live very close to one, which I love. It looks like a German town. You know, like, remember when we used to go to, what was that German town in Washington?
Leavenworth.
Leavenworth. I just love that. I just love that. Anyway, I wonder if they have a Krampus Nacht. I need to go talk to the mayor and set up a Krampus Nacht for next year. That'd be fun.
Leavenworth would have one.
So yeah, I wonder if they do.
Because that is a full-blown German town.
Well, so is this one. There's a lot of German settlers came and just created their own towns, and they're full-blown German towns. Like, the people who live there are a full-blown German ancestry. And they just stay in those communities, basically. Which is so interesting to me. Like, I don't know. I can see... I don't know. It just seems... Texas is I don't know why I think, oh, well, Texas is a weird place for that. But I just think it's very interesting. Quite a bit of German history around here. So... yeah, I wonder if Leavenworth does. I think we should all start having Krampusnacht. It'd be a little bit extra fun. We don't have to beat children unless...
Although it's recommended.
Yeah, unless we pay extra to get in. Those children have to, like, wear a certain kind of a hat. Here, wear this hat. No, it's fine. I know there's only a few children wearing the hat.
The coolest kid in this room.
Yeah. I know there's only a few other people wearing the hat, but we're going to tie this on real tight. Did you bring your Nikes?
And your donuts?
Los Angeles, okay, Krampus scene. And the Morbid Anatomy Museum in Brooklyn hosts a yearly costume party. You can also get down with Krampus in Chicago, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Richmond, Orlando, and many other cities in the U.S. and Canada. Of course, for some people, the holidays are scary enough without throwing in a demon beast with a penchant for physical assault into the mix. I mean, isn't it hard enough just to get together with your family?
Makes you want to spend time with Krampus. Gives you something to look forward to. The physical pain is better than the emotion. Oh.
You can't see the scars on the inside.
You don't know what I just had to do for a week. Everybody stayed in my house. Just whipped me till my lips turned black.
They're only going to be whipping you on your legs. You're not going to get your face whipped.
Then I guess I'm getting whipped for a long time. Ooh.
Ooh, Krampus.
Ooh, there was a little fire on that one.
Oh my god. Oh, yes.
I'm strangely liking this more than I thought I would.
One thing that I want to talk about, and that is the tradition of giving Krampus fortified schnapps during the festival. You offer him this fortified schnapps, and it's supposed to, help him not beat you more. I don't know, one of those things. And I'm trying to find the exact. Oh, here it goes. So in many cities and towns, in keeping with old tradition, they run a popular Krampuslauf, and then the revelers also drink the fortified schnapps. Which, for those of you who don't know, schnapps is a and alcohol. Like, well, the regular schnapps is what, peppermint flavored? Something like that. And they have peach schnapps and
Yeah.
And then in Austria, 1,200 Austrians gather for Krampusnacht, which is pretty good, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then in addition to Krampus, Santa traditionally enjoyed a host of other different companions, depending on their region, their culture, and what reflected their local history and beliefs. These mystical figures have many common traits and generally play the role of a punisher or an abductor, in contrast to the generous saint. They often, in these cases, they often would carry a rod or a stick or a broom. They were usually dressed in black rags. They were shaggy, had unruly hair. They were elves, kobolds, or pre-Christian house spirits of English and Scandinavian tradition. And they were believed to actually be gift makers, which is how we got the legend of the elves. Not a legend, kids. It's a true story of elves making the presents. Was because of these pre-Christian traditions of these elves, because they had elves and fairies and whatnot. And so a lot of that went into the creation of Saint Nick. And it's funny because a lot of that stuff, so much of that stuff, okay, so we keep certain traditions like elves working for Santa and, the Yule log and that kind of stuff passed down through, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's kind of funny how they've transformed. Well, we still keep them. And I was brought to my attention today that nobody really talks about who mines for the coal for Santa. So I'm going to do a story about the coal miners, Santa's coal miners. If you just think about all the weird Christmas poems and songs and ideas, like you get coal in your stocking, you just like break those down. You're like, I thought, oh yeah, who ever thought about who gets the coal? How do we get this coal? And so I'm going to work on that. In the meantime, I wish I could rewind time and go to a Krampusnacht. And I wish I could take you dressed in that black, all black head to toe leather suit from American Horror Story.
Yeah. Not gonna happen.
Oh, come on. That would be so funny. I would be laughing until I had tears in my eyes. Maybe we can get Rob. Maybe we can talk Rob into doing it. He can be like, "Stop it! I'm fighting my snake."
He'll be too busy fighting his snake.
Rob is getting rid of that snake because it bit him, and he's afraid. He said it was too striky. So he's getting a very teeny tiny small snake. I'm disappointed, frankly. Anybody can fight a small snake. Not everybody can fight a boa constrictor.
Yep.
So stop it. I just want him to yell that at Krampus. Sorry, I'm fighting with Krampus.
He just keeps whipping him over and over and over.
Sorry, guys. Fighting with Krampus. Oh my gosh. Well, Jory, I loved this podcast about Krampus.
Yeah, it was fun. It was funny.
Yeah, it was. Let's find one. Let's Let's go to a Krampus festival sometime. That would blow my mind.
That'd be pretty fun. I wouldn't mind going.
That would be fun. I don't have any small children. You'd have to keep a real tight hold on Bean. There's nothing Bean could have done by then. But Josh, on the other hand, push him out in the front of the line. Josh, you want to go to a Krampus festival? All right. Well, like I said before, if you like my content, go ahead and subscribe. Guess who hit 1,500 subscribers? This one here.
You did.
I did. I have like over 1,500 now. So my life is complete, and yeah, can't really ask for much more.
Retiring, everybody. Thanks for subscribing.
It's so funny because that was my goal. So I've been doing this for 2 years, 9 months as of December 1st, and I finally got to 1,500. But that was my goal. I was like, oh my gosh, I'll have made it then. If I can make it there. Whatever. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. Now, if I could just get YouTube to... I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't monetize me. All I did was talk about whipping people. Maybe kidnapping a child. Just in the holiday spirit. I don't mean for good.
Sometimes people just need to be whipped.
I know. That's what I always say.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. That's monetizing-able. What? So, thank you for coming, Jory. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Kiss that baby Bean for me.
Will do.
And my next podcast is going to be with Rob, and we're going to talk about the mysteriously missing people. We're going to have a podcast on that because Rob didn't get to finish his stories last time. Somebody talked too much.
Gee, I wonder who that was.
I don't. I might have an idea. All right. Good night, Jory.
Good night, Mom. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. Give this video a thumbs up.